Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coin Drop Podcast, episode 39. It's hard to believe we've been doing this long already, but coming up on a year. Not a year of episodes, but 2 more months, and we'll be at a year, roughly. I think March is when we started. So, joining me, as most often than not, Tim is here. I'm going to find a new way to say that every time. I'm
slowly upgrading.
I'm going to find a new way to say that every time. Tim, how's your week been, man? What have you been up to?
Man, it really has been a super slow week other than today. My 6 and 8-year-old, as it turns out this week, had a birthday party, and oh my God, it was stressful. We had like 30 kids. Other than that, it was a pretty typical week, but I'm so happy to be here to talk about video games again because I love this and I love you guys. Let's get this going.
Yeah. I had a pretty typical week. I fucked up my ankle on Wednesday, literally the day after I got cleared from PT. On my last PT, I rolled my other ankle, so I went down hard and just started cussing and screaming because I was pissed. Dude, I was so mad, and then the pain hit, and then I didn't feel good. But I was so mad when I rolled my ankle. I was so pissed. Luckily, it's not seriously damaged. It's just a gnarly sprain, so I've got it in a brace and shit. Today just took a bunch of shit to the dump, got rid of the old water heater and the old toilets, and not a bad day. All right, let's talk some video games, though. So we've got
It's a lot faster for you this week. Last week we took like 10 minutes.
We did take a little bit of time. Let's talk about what we got on screen right now. So we've got 2 relatively big announcements. One's definitely more important than the other. Skull and Bones, we'll talk about that one later because that one's not as important. Horizon 2 finally got its PC date. It was announced a while ago.
Forbidden West.
Yeah. Horizon 2 Forbidden West was announced. It was coming to PC, I think, a couple weeks ago. And I said, nah, it's not worth talking about because, it's just the announcement. We didn't have a date. And then this week, we got a date. So now it's time to talk about it. Tim, when's Horizon 2 coming to PC?
Before we start that, Mike threw a couple of messages in Twitch, and I'm a little confused.
It doesn't matter. Ignore him. Let's focus on the games. Screw him. He's not on the podcast. Yep.
I'm going to be completely honest. I actually don't know the release date. I believe it's in March.
It is the 21st of March. Drops on 21st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for saving me there.
I'm going to save you a little bit more. West. Tim has been drinking because of the party, so he's a little tips. So I'll be
He didn't just save me. He threw me under the bus.
Yeah, I pulled you out of the pool while you were drowning to throw you in front of the bus. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So Forbidden West, Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PC March 21st.
Yep.
What you said, right?
Yes, sir.
So what I can say about this game is if you had any criticisms about Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't think I can conjure up a single developer that said, "Oh, what did we do wrong with the first title and how can we fix it?" and fixed literally every single issue. Every single one of them. Imagine a single issue with any single original title that was rectified in the following sequel better than this.
Yeah,
Guerrilla Games listened to everything. I don't think there's a single comment online ever entered that they didn't read and take it to heart. Because this game is Assassin's Creed 2 was probably the title before this title that I would say that they listened to all of the criticism and fixed everything.
That sounds reasonable.
But somehow, that's the only thing I can think of. Well, Guerrilla Games really, really took everything they could possibly imagine and then some, and then just fixed it and made it better or implemented upon it. And it's such a phenomenal sequel. This was the first game I couldn't stop just gawking at everything. And even more so with this title, I couldn't stop. I don't think I can imagine a single title that I'm just like, this is beautiful everywhere I look. and just stopped and opened up photo mode. Like so much so that it makes me wish that photo mode was available in every game. And not even just that, character animations and lip reading and story and the way everything interacts with everything. It was such a beautiful sequel in all the ways that I'm so happy for more players to be playing this, to the point that I've never said this before, but like I wouldn't be upset if this released on Xbox.
Xbox couldn't handle this game. Let's be honest.
No, no, it couldn't. No, it couldn't. But if it did, like, I would be happy for more people to experience this title.
Well, I mean, Guerrilla Games has cut their teeth for years. They're a fantastic developer, and I'm having a hard time thinking of a bad game they made. I think their worst was Killzone Shadowfall, and even that was not at all as bad as people believed it to be, in my opinion. But let's talk about some of the features that are coming for PC, right? So we've got DLSS support. We got DLSS 3, as well as AMD FSR and Intel XESS, which is all their, AI upscaling. I hate all of them personally. I think they're all trash. Just my opinion. I think it makes the game look worse, not better. Just my opinion. DLAA, I'm not familiar with whatever the fuck that is, but that's for
DLAA.
Yeah,
is that what that is?
Is that a lighting thing?
It's anti-aliasing.
Okay, all right.
Meaning less jaggies.
Gotcha.
It's AI software to reduce jaggies.
Gotcha. That one might be worth turning on.
Yay, Digital Foundry. Woo, you taught me something.
Lethal says, to be fair, they only have Killzone games in this, plus Shell Shock. Shell Shock was a great game, though, but like of those games, yeah, they've done great. DLAAs and NVIDIA
True.
DSR. Okay, yeah. They're bringing direct storage.
Shell Shock was actually really good, by the way. 1%. So like Lethal, go back. It's actually really well put together. Anyways.
Yeah, Shell Shock was great. They're adding direct storage for PS5 style ultra fast load times, which is great for people like me who've got the M.2. It's always great to have.
Yes. So like just because you have an M.2 doesn't mean you get direct storage.
Right. It has to be implemented.
It's a special feature that makes your PC capable of the PS5's special hardware of additional bus pathways for your hard drive to make it faster. It's a special PC edition, or not edition, but PC version of the PS5's hardware design, which is literally existent because of the PS5 to allow your PC to respond as fast as PS5.
I'm actually really interested to see how fast that loads, because I got to be honest, just M.2 load times on a PC are stupid fast in general, so that should be really interesting to see.
Consider less than 60 seconds and more like less than 2 seconds.
I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 generally loads for me in less than 15, so I'm curious to see what this does.
Less than 2.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's a huge drop.
Yeah.
They're also, this is insane to me, 48:9 resolution, triple monitor setup support.
Yeah.
That's
really cool,
fucking
isn't it?
wild. Yeah, I can't imagine gaming on that. That makes me want to game it on my 2 monitor setup, but I feel like my horizontal split here would not work out in my favor. But
it's the triple monitor.
Yeah.
Resolution, so you can like not just 16:9 or whatever, you can have 3 monitors and it fits to those 3 monitors, so you can have like ultra wide viewing, like super ultra wide.
I need one more monitor so that I can play this game.
Bro, I'm over here on a Asus ROG laptop and I really wish I had that.
Yeah, you gotta get that PC life.
You can see my computer, my TV behind me, and like I really wish I had that.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with this port company Nixes. I'm not sure that's how you say them. I don't know what other ports they've made, whether they're games.
Correct.
Okay. It looks like they've worked on Tomb Raider, Marvel's Avengers.
So Nixes was bought by Sony a few months back, probably like 6 to 8 months ago, and more or less they are a port company.
Right.
They help bring PlayStation 5 titles or PlayStation titles to PC. That is their sole existence. Well, it looks as a developer. They help.
It looks like
they were designed to help bring PlayStation titles to PC, and I imagine soon, probably within the next year or so, or hell, even now, for all I know, they are bringing a unique title to PlayStation/PC. But for now, or at least for their original purpose, they were bought for the PlayStation company to bring PlayStation console titles to PC. And that was their sole purpose.
Gotcha.
And there's plenty of PlayStation titles for them to do so. Please, God, for the love of God, please bring Bloodborne. But that's what they were buff.
Apparently, they did the Spider-Man ports, and I heard nothing but good things about those. So
they're very good at what they do.
The
Correct.
writer of this article specifically calls out, hopefully we see no Last of Us style porting disasters from them on this one, which is what I have my fingers crossed for, because God, please, not another one of those situations.
The worst part about that is that was mostly handled by Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really wish Nixus was involved in that to have avoided those issues.
So we'll see what kind of broken mess it is when it comes to PC. I'm hopeful it won't be. With Nix's track record, it seems like they're pretty good, but Horizon's a different game, so we will see what happens. But cautiously optimistic.
You say Horizon is a different game, and it is. But, like, just consider that Naughty Dog is so good at what they do on consoles.
Yes.
But when they tried to like change gears and develop for PC, they
failed.
Fucked up.
Yeah. Real bad. Real bad.
No, they didn't fail. They fucked up in so many ways that, like, I can't think of a different game that had shader caching for hours.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
What, like, is there any other game that's failed that hard? Like, my point being is that Naughty Dog knows what they're doing when it comes to developing on PlayStation. So much so that they're just like lost on PC.
Yeah.
And so that's why PlayStation, or presumably that's why PlayStation bought companies, because Nixus isn't the only developer that they have bought to help bring their games to PC. They've actually bought other studios to help make this happen. And so the port for Star Wars Fallen Order, from my understanding, or Jedi Survivor was also pretty buggy, but from my understanding, they got a handle on that and got it under control within the first couple of months, where pretty quickly,
where The Last of Us took quite a bit longer. So hopefully we don't see that be the case. Nixus seems like they've got a good head on their shoulders. I've heard, like I said, nothing but good things about the Spider-Man ports, so I have confidence in them, but I'm also cautious.
My whole point is that the developer that's just so freaking phenomenal at what they do on console, that makes them like extremely incompetent on some other device.
Well, I mean, that's
PC, Xbox, Switch, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. My point is that they're so good at what they do on one thing, it makes them incompetent somewhere else, that they need help via Nixus or whatever. That, like, Sony realized that, and they stepped in, or, well, not for The Last of Us, but hopefully in the case of Horizon Forbidden West, that they stepped in and said, hey, you need this help to make this game a good, solid launch title, which, to be fair, wasn't the case with Zero Dawn. Hopefully is the case with Forbidden West.
Yeah.
That I really hope that this game launches in a at least decent state, because Sony hasn't really been in the best state with their PC launches.
No. Yeah,
they've always been a little bit rocky.
I mean, they're new to it too. They started at the worst time in terms of optimization. There are millions of configurations out there. It's hard to do. I'm not discrediting that. I'm simply saying that, like, I don't expect a lot, I guess is the best way to say it. But let's move on. Let's talk about Skull and Bones. So Skull and Bones finally is actually apparently really happening. Like, that we joked about this a few weeks ago, that they got an official release date again for the 2 billionth time. They've got an open beta coming from February 8th to the 11th. It will be playable on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Windows PC via the Epic Game Store and the Ubisoft Store. So if you want to play Skull and Bones and see if it's going to live up to the 20-year hype now? I don't know, like 12 at least. I think it's at least a 12-year hype at this point. You'll have that option.
About accurate. So I hate to say this, but I've effectively signed on to the Epic Game Store bandwagon.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't dislike Steam. There's literally no malice towards Steam, but good Lord, has Epic done everything they can to win me over? And so I was talking to Russ about this 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. I'm easier to please than most people. And Epic is, if they've given me so many free games over the past 3-4 years with their free game initiative. Every Thursday they give away a free game. Half the time ish they give away a shit game, but half the time they give away a good game, especially during the Christmas season. In any case, they've won me over. If a game releases on PC, I will absolutely 100% look at Epic or the Epic Game Store first, hands down. If it's available in the Epic Game Store, I will buy it there first.
Fair enough.
Period. They've given me like 250 games over the past couple of years. So I'm like, okay, sure. They've given me away enough free games. I will go ahead and look there first. If it's not, then sure, I'll buy Steam. It makes it a little more rocky. It makes it a little more rocky for me that I have a Steam Deck. So I'm always a little bit torn. So I might want to buy it on Steam first so I can play it on my Steam Deck. But in any case, with that said,
back on Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
My point is that the game. I actually don't know. I'm sorry. Continue, Russ. Continue.
It's all right, man. Take a breath. You're good. So in the open beta, players will be able to reach an infamy cap of tier 6, which earns them 5 exclusive rewards, blah, 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 some cosmetics, an emote, weapons, things of that nature. Progression from the open beta will carry to the full game releasing on February 16th. And if you're one of those people,
unusual.
Yeah, it's not very common. If you're a Ubisoft Plus subscriber, you get the game 3 days early on the 13th. So you get some early access. If you decide to throw Ubisoft more money, which is apparently becoming more and more common of a thing. Mixed feelings as I have about that. But yeah, that's kind of the situation with Skull and Bones. So if anybody out there is listening and wants to play Skull and Bones and let us know your thoughts on it, I'd love to hear it because I am not going to get a chance to play it, even though I'd really like to, because I would like to see if it lives up to the, again, 12-year hype or whatever it is at this point.
Right. It's been 2018 they were showing the game off when me and Russ were at E3.
Yeah, that was...
Good Lord, it's been before that they announced the game. Yeah. Again, I've said that I am easier to please. I want this game to be good, and so I'm like looking at the title with like the hopes that it'll be good. And so I really wish that it'll be good. And in the sense that like I almost want to pre-order it. I almost want to like give them money before it's available so I can play it early so I can give the
just play the beta, dude.
Yes.
Play the beta and go from there.
Yeah.
Play the beta and then we'll talk about it. How about that?
That's probably the best choice, but like Black Flag was so good. Like literally
stop paying for games you haven't played yet. Stop.
The shanties alone were so fun.
Tim. This is why companies like FNTASTIC refuse to die, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Stop giving money to games you haven't played. Stop.
I understand your point, but I don't. I actually, to be completely fair to myself, I actually don't buy into those things.
Yeah.
I buy into what I'm interested in. I am torn on Skull and Bones. I want it to be so good simply because Black Flag was so good, and I get it. I get your point. I get your point entirely.
All right. Play the beta. In other news,
We're
talking,
and I'll give you my opinions in the next couple of weeks.
Sounds good. We're going to talk about some more Xbox shit. Xbox is kind of a mess. Shouldn't be news to anybody at this point that listens to this podcast. I feel bad because I feel like all we do is rag on Xbox and Microsoft, but they kind of do it to themselves.
I want to love them so much. I want to.
You're like what's his name in fucking Of Mice and Men or whatever. You're like Lenny or whatever with the rabbit. Like I want to love you, and you're killing it the entire time.
Desperately.
You're fucking choking that rabbit to death. and that rabbit is Microsoft. Microsoft has laid off 1,900 people across Blizzard,
1,900,
Activision,
2,000, effectively.
across Activision Blizzard, the company they just acquired. Great, good job. Xbox Game Studios.
Not just effectively Activision Blizzard. 99.9% of people that they have laid off is in the Activision Blizzard crowd.
Yep. So Activision Blizzard, Xbox Game Studios, and ZeniMax Media, which is Bethesda, basically. So 1,900 people have lost their jobs, and the majority of those, as Tim said, are in Activision Blizzard, the company they just bought. So what the actual fuck is going on at Microsoft?
$70 billion worth.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, again, if you've listened to us for any length of time, you understand that I analyze these things, and I understand this at the business level. I'm a capitalist. I'm sorry. I'm a capitalist. Sue me. I get it. They bought studios. They bought a publisher in this case.
Yeah.
They bought a publisher, and at least half of these positions are redundant. These positions are already filled within Microsoft, and therefore they can take on a few extra thousand or whatever people to hand checks to or whatever. And therefore they're not needed in the Activision Blizzard sphere. So Microsoft can already handle them. So it literally doesn't make sense for them to keep them.
Why buy
Still, when you look at the last...
Why buy it?
I'm sorry?
Why buy the company to lay off 1,900 people? You can't tell me that Activision Blizzard didn't get purchased by Microsoft, that Microsoft didn't go into this knowing like, yeah, we're going to lay off 1,900 of you because you're duplicates. You're doing the same thing we're doing over here. We don't need you. Why fucking buy it?
Like, Microsoft is such a large company that at the very least they could have said, you know what, we don't need you here, but go over there, we could use you. Like, at the very least, minimum. So like I said, this is where the duality in me under like it fits. Where like I get the business side, but like the individual side, like I fully understand both sides of things, but like I'm so torn on the two that I get it. I get both sides in the sense of, why couldn't they just push them somewhere else? And they've done this for decades. Yeah. I mean, the guys that made Age of Empires, they fired those guys almost, actually before Halo Wars was launched. Before Halo Wars came out, they fired the development studio.
That made it.
So like they didn't even wait to see how well the project did before they said, you know what, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
So like this makes sense. It's literally on track record for them. Still, they could have put them somewhere else to make them an effective model. And like I'm on Twitter. I actually follow a lot of these people, and seeing their pain firsthand of saying, you know, I've spent so much time at this studio to just be thrown away with the wind. It actually hurts. Like it literally, like me looking at these people saying, I've poured so much of my personality, my attention, and my love into the studio to just be thrown away, piss in the wind. Like, it sucks.
Like I'm not a huge fan of unions, but I gotta be honest. When it comes to IT world,
thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
When it comes to the IT world, they need one, dude, in a bad way. I mean, this last year, Christmas was so fucking stressful for my brother. He was in full crisis mode because he did not know if he was going to log into work one day and find out he's been locked out because Bungie decided to just let him go. My heart goes out to anybody that deals with that stress. Fuck that. That sounds miserable. It's absolutely miserable. And here's the worst part of this, though. The very worst thing, the project Activision Blizzard announced earlier last year, their survival RPG game, I think it was an MMO, I can't remember, has
it's in the vein of Ark and 7 Days to Die and Conan Exiles.
Canned. It's been canned because they laid off the entire team working on it, which is such a fucking disappointment because I would have loved to see what Blizzard did with it. I would have loved to have seen what Blizzard did with it.
I don't think any other developer, a single developer in the existence of the world, could have iterated on that genre better than Blizzard.
Yeah.
Has been canceled.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yeah.
Nobody else. It's just this in the wind.
Yeah. Then
And what makes what makes this worse is like total topic change here, is that to make this whole thing worse is this is rumor, to be fair, but this is rumor from like Jez Corden, which I don't know if you know him, but the guy's accurate like 99.9% of the time. He has stated that Microsoft has laid off the entirety 100% of their physical media department. Microsoft has fired every single person in their physical media department. Meaning, if you've looked at the rumors, which we have talked about this in the past, Microsoft is working towards digital only, i.e. Game Pass, i.e. going away from Xbox physical media consoles. He's stepped in and said that they've fired everybody and that Microsoft is effectively stepping away from physical media. And the new Xbox Series X is going to be a digital only media similar to the Xbox Series X. I've been saying this for a year now, and I feel what's the opposite of vilified? Fill me in here, Russ.
Dude, you're talking to the wrong guy. My vocabulary is that of a 3-year-old. I'm going to say this. It has me concerned, these layoffs, for multiple reasons. One, Starfield did not do well, and I didn't get a chance to go dumpster dive.
Not actual sales wise. It did well player wise.
Who cares?
Not sales wise.
Yeah. So Starfield did not do well.
The metric that matters.
Yeah.
The metric that matters. Yes.
Starfield did not do well. I didn't get a chance to go dumpster diving this week, so I didn't find out if they actually dumped them or not. But there's that. So they laid off people at ZeniMax, which means a couple of people on that team, I'm sure, which means Bethesda has downscaled. Laying off the majority of Blizzard has me go, okay, what's going to happen with... Well, not majority.
I have to interrupt you quick.
Not majority,
Thank you.
but the majority of the layoffs were Blizzard Activision.
There you go.
Has me concerned about Vessel of Hatred. What's going to happen with Diablo 4's expansion? What's going to happen with Diablo 4 moving forward? What's going to happen with WoW? Not that seems to be relevant for most MMO gamers at this point.
Does anyone care anymore?
I don't know. It makes me think of that the scene from Jurassic Park that everybody memes where fucking what's his name is like, hey, we've got so and so over here. See, nobody gives a shit. Like they always meme that scene. Right. It's like, hey, we've got
see, nobody cares.
WoW over here. WoW's over here. See, nobody gives a shit. Like that's what that makes me think of. Because does anybody really care about WoW at this point? That isn't WoW Classic. Like that's okay. But it has me concerned about the future of Diablo 4, which already, like season 3, from my understanding, has not been going over well with a lot of players. And honestly, I think they're going to continue to see drops in player counts because of the way they're running seasons, and I think it's justified because they're just not great. But
just to talk about this specific topic, I've actually seen some rather mixed response, but that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I haven't done enough research to
positive and negative.
Sure, I haven't done enough research to see a lot of other response that's just inherent, like internet scrolling shit. But it has me worried about the expansion. You know, if they really did lay off 1,900 people and the majority of that were over at Activision Blizzard, what does that mean for the future?
That's over 10%, by the way.
Yeah.
That's 10%.
Yeah. So I don't...
And keep in mind that's 10% on top of the 10,000 other people that Microsoft has laid off in the last year. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And
so effectively they've laid off like 15-ish, more like 12 to 15,000 people over the last 12 months. That's fucking people.
Yeah. The tech industry has been hit.
In stark contrast, I'm sorry, Russ. I'm sorry. But in stark contrast to Sony's 50 people in the past year.
It has me, I mean, across the entire IT industry, there's been mass layoffs in a area of work that we were told, our generation were told, is the future. It was recession proof. It's where you want to be in terms of employment. And now we're finding out that, like, no, actually blue collar work is where you want to be because there's an abundance of it and no one to do it. So,
which I can say there's reason I'm in a blue collar field of electrical work. I will always need a job.
Yeah.
I don't.
You'll always have a
talk
job.
about it.
You'll always have a job. But that's
Yes. So with that said, Microsoft is oddly in a position that I really wish I was wrong. I really wish that I've been wrong in this past 15 to 18 months. Like when I was working at GameStop Game Crazy.
can't even remember the company you worked for.
Right. I had a drink. In 2014, 2012, whatever, when I was working there, I was looking at Microsoft and wishing they were better. And like they've been on a downfall since then, which they've made strides in both directions. They've bought a whole bunch of studios, blah, 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 whatever. They've had a lot of history since then. But like I've been calling it since they let go of the official Xbox magazine that they've been on a downtrend since then. And like I wish I don't know how people look at me and like you can look at my video history. I've said this for so long. Like I really wish they were not on the downtrend. Like I desperately wish they were like a vast hardcore competitor to PlayStation and Nintendo, because that would only make everyone better. I want them to be as good as they were in the beginning of the Xbox 360 era, because they forced Sony to be what they are now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. Well, speaking of wishing something was better and being disappointed, FNTASTIC, the saga of these two ginormous pieces of shit. Tim has mimed killing himself again 2 weeks in a row. For our audio listeners, he's swallowed another
Third time in a row now.
Yeah, swallowed another fictitious bullet. These guys are the Sith. They do not know when to quit, and they do not know die. The two brothers that run FNTASTIC have announced they're coming back to make another new game. I don't know that they're going to sell any. I gotta be honest. Literally the same week, the day before servers shut down, reports claimed that the CEOs, the two brothers that founded FNTASTIC, are going to start work on a new mobile game. So maybe they will sell because they're not targeting the market that, knows how awful they are. But if I have it my way, I'm going to put this out there as far and wide as I can. Do not buy these. Don't, not even if it's free, don't download this. They put out a call saying they're looking for veterans to start work on this new mobile game, and a previous employee basically said that they're carrying on, quote, as if nothing ever happened. They are completely unfazed by the bullshit. Dude, the straight up fraudulent claims, the false advertisement, the failure to deliver. I mean, if there is an antagonist to Hello Games, the creators of No Man's Sky, it's these guys. It 100% is. All the goodwill that Hello Games... is it Hello Games?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, that was making me think of the developer of Hello Neighbor, and I just...
Not them.
Yeah. Yeah, Hello Games. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was correct. Yeah.
You're correct.
I was second guessing myself because fuck that game too. But if there is like a yin and yang to the world, you've got Hello Games and you've got FNTASTIC, and they are polarizing opposites. These guys have zero goodwill. They have bought nothing but ill will, and for the fact that they think, I'll give them like stick to your guns and go for it, but they have fumbled. I mean, there's a reason our screen right now is literally, if you go to FNTASTIC right now, this is what you see. They announced the shutdown of the studio and then turn around the week the fucking servers are going offline for their last failed game and go, oh yeah, we're going to make a new game. You closed your studio to avoid being sued, didn't you? That's all it was.
Let me interrupt here for a second.
Go for it.
If there's this black and white that exists, I'm Christian, right? So like I wear a cross around my neck every single day. If heaven exists and hell exists.
I don't know if I want you to continue this. I don't know if I want...
FNTASTIC is literally hell. Do not believe, do not think, do not listen, do not do anything that they say ever. In any sense of the word, in any belief of the word. Just no. It doesn't matter what they make. It doesn't matter what they say. No.
Yeah.
their history is by far some of honestly, literally, like my 25 plus, well, probably honestly more realistically like 12. In any case, my half that 25 history of really, really, really keeping mind or keeping track of the history of the industry. I cannot think of a single, even like the worst shitty asset flip studio company that I can imagine has done the worst they possibly can. These guys have like basically flipped or asset flipped the worst they possibly can and been like, we're amazing, guys. Listen to us. We're so cool. Buy our next project every time.
Yeah.
I literally can't think of anything else worse than that. Like, I literally cannot. Like, we were offered a free game from the developer earlier today. Actually, might have been yesterday, but in any case, we were offered. Sorry for my fuck up there. We were offered a free game on our Steam account for our review section. Which, if you're unaware, we have a review section on Steam.
It's a curation.
Yes, curation on Steam from a developer that I was actually really looking into after they offered us their game. In any case, it is an asset flip in every way sense of the word. And I think this is better because they're far more upfront about it than FNTASTIC.
Assets exist for a reason. Assets. When it comes to being a small developer, these assets exist to be purchased and tweaked because the time it takes to build an asset from the ground up is unreasonable, and to create what you immense. Yeah, it's ridiculous to build an asset. Well,
nowadays. so these guys that I was looking at them, it's like Rogue or something or other, but it's like a roguelike type game, and it looks terrible in all the ways. It's 99 cents. But they've got like 18 other games that are like Ninja Turtles roguelike or military roguelike or ninja roguelike. Like all of them are exactly the same. They just have slightly different character models.
Yeah.
They're all 99 cents. They're all terrible, but they all at the very least tell you what they are. Mm-hmm. They don't lie to you.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what FNTASTIC does. And while FNTASTIC seems to be moving towards mobile strategy,
it's going to be the same shit.
Which I guess might be the best option, it's still don't give them penny.
Yeah. They closed their studio. I firmly believe they closed their studio to avoid any legal.
Closed.
Yeah, right. They closed to avoid any legal backlash for false advertisement because it was coming. It was 100% coming. Somebody was going to sue them, whether they won or not.
They shut themselves down to avoid legal responsibility.
Definitely. But beyond that, there's also, you can probably Google this and find it. I didn't include it here. I should have. Someone recently, a solo developer, quote unquote, spent $1,500 rebuilding a demo trailer for the Day Before parody game he calls The Day After that looks better, plays better, and implements melee combat from day one. And it cost him $1,500 and less than a year, because I believe he started that project middle of last year.
So just to slightly interrupt you here, Lethal, if I'm understanding your question correctly, yes, I did. I will be playing it, and I will be giving my thoughts. I'll just tell you they're probably not good. As for this parody game, I don't think it's going to take a lot to be better than the Day Before. Really, if you have any serious inkling to be better than the Day Before, you probably will be.
Yeah, it's not a high bar. Mike mentioned that it has a parkour style vaulting system, slightly, I guess, whatever that means. I didn't watch the full video, but it's not like it's mind-boggling to me that they said it took them 5 years and hundreds of thousands of man hours to build what they showed off, and now they're turning around and gonna try and fuck people over again. Like, they did play some 4D level chess. I gotta be honest, I was pretty blown away that they didn't take pre-orders. When they didn't take pre-orders, when they announced their final release date and they didn't take pre-orders for the Day Before, I thought, okay, this is a real game. It's gonna be a real thing. And they got me. they got me. But I mean, I got my money back, but it was still one of those things. It's like, holy shit, like that was a very smart call for two very douchey people.
That's the one thing that I can actually give them credit for. They actually, like, they didn't make a single penny off the day before. And that is the one thing I can say, you know what? At least they did that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, I got to give them a sliver of credit.
I don't.
Because they could have. They could have. They very absolutely could have. In the vein of Star Citizen taking money for the development of their, quote, game asset flip.
Sure, but at least Star Citizen has a product that people are actively playing.
Well, this is correct. That doesn't mean there's not plenty of other projects that took players' money or founders' money and made nothing. Yeah. Like that's the problem. This is a problem with crowdfunding, is that you can promise the world and deliver
nothing.
An ocean that you can deliver effectively nothing, and say, you know what, we gave you what we said we were going to, and keep the majority of that money. So that's the one thing I can say, as much as I hate to say this about FNTASTIC, is that they literally earned nothing for this farce.
Yeah,
nothing.
And I honestly, I don't know how they're going to do. I'm actually really I'm curious to see what they do next. Only because I want to watch them fail, and I'm curious to see if anybody's really foolish enough to give them any money at this point. I mean, I can't imagine anyone being willing to work for them. But at the same time, like, those developers got their money. They got their money. They were paid for their work.
So like with what you just stated, that is the developers that work for them, they got their money, right? So like they got paid. The developers themselves that worked for them that weren't, quote,
volunteers. But those people were only working on localization and stuff of that nature. Those were not developers.
But like my point is well, like at the worst case scenario, those people did learn something. Regardless of how minimal as it is, it's something that they can potentially add to their resume and state, portfolio, resume, whatever. They can say, "Hey, I learned these valuable lessons." So long as, at the very least, as they word them appropriately, this was a fucked up product, and I learned from it, and I won't do any of that again. Even though the majority of the decisions that were made were fucked up decisions that they had no say over.
Yeah.
They can state that, hey, I learned X, Y, Z, and therefore I'm a better developer because of it. So like, it doesn't necessarily hurt the individual, right? It's more of like the company as a whole. So like, I hope that those individuals that worked on it can learn something valuable from this and make a better project in the future. Hopefully not for FNTASTIC or whatever they've become since then. But like, I don't have hope for whatever FNTASTIC has become to become something good in the future.
It's
like
just
the individual level, you know?
Yeah. I want to mention Mike here. He commented that he loved that there was one dude that played literally to the date of server closing. It's pretty fucking.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
one person.
It was that man is going to go down in history as the trash god. That man is absolutely the trash god. But dude,
Is it the trash god and trash for the trash god in your sense, or trash in he accepted and became he accepted and became the trash god because he embraced all that it was to be trash and play trash and experience trash and become trash in all the ways that fuck me, everything about this sucks and I have become that.
He ascended and became the trash god. He played the trash and burned it to the ground. So.
Which funny enough, Honkai Star Rail has a trash meme going for it in such a way that's actually rather hilarious. If you like JRPGs in any way, shape, or form, interact with the trash cans. I promise you. That's all I'm going to say.
Hold on.
Dude, you'd be surprised at how there is a legit connection between those two. If you play JRPGs, play Honkai Star Rail, interact with the trash cans, you'll understand. It's actually hilarious. I kid you not. If you have any respect for me and you care about JRPGs and you download this game, please listen. Interact with the trash cans. It's actually some of the best that I've interacted since the Lost Odyssey. It's hilarious. I'm not joking. It's funny.
I'm not.
Please.
I'm not laughing about the fact.
Yes,
that
Mike Squirrel. Damn it.
That's what I'm laughing about. Oh my god, dude, we're talking about Fantastic, and you take a
there's a connection,
hard
damn
left.
it.
You take a hard left off the topic and crash
They
right
related?
through a building. And
I
just
don't
keep
care if
on
that
going.
sliver is 1/64th of a sliver. It's a sliver and they connect. I don't have any chocolate.
Okay, I think this episode just got its title. It's gonna be "Fuck These Topics." Check out this frog.
Trash for the trash god.
It's gonna be liquor for the liquor god. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Well, with that said, I don't know that we have a whole lot more to talk about, Tim, unless you want to take another hard detour off of these topics and discuss something else. Or should we wrap here and head over to our Patreon side? Okay, Tim is turning. Tim is definitely
and I
off
like my
topic.
consoles.
Jesus
I had
Christ.
too much drink, and I love you all. Please tell your mom I said hi. Good night.
Thanks for listening, everybody. That is Tim's sign off for the night. Appreciate you joining us here. I apologize for my incredibly inebriated co-host. For those of you who are interested in more topics, you can find us over on Patreon at patreon.com/coindroppod. And
my YouTube.
what's your YouTube?
Something.
Yep. Something. Look up.
Coindrop-Tim.
There you go. Coindrop-Tim on YouTube if you want to watch a very inebriated Tim play video games and commentate.
No, we don't play video games inebriated.
Okay. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Y'all have a great night.
Love you guys. Good night.